Appreciate it. First of all, let me say thanks for letting me come in and yell at you guys. What Ameresco does in your packet, I'm not going to go through it, it's a capability study for Ameresco. When you look at an ESCO is an energy service company. All we do is energy. Try to save as much as we can, and that energy can be electric, gas, water, wind turbines, solar, anything that has something to heat or cool with. We are the second largest ESCO in the United States, volume-wise. We have about 13 point. Number one has 13.8% of the marketplace. They have 120,000 employees. We have 13.6% of the marketplace. They're 0.2% larger than we are. We have 1,000 employees. We do about $750 million a year.
Wait. They have 100?
Yes, sir.
You have about?
Yes, sir.
That's my kind of company.
We
understaffed.
Lean and mean, and all of our project developers are all degreed structural, mechanical, electrical, or PEs. All of our engineers are PEs. One reason that we've been able to do so well in the marketplace, and the fact that we do it right the first time. What we're going to talk about today is an in-depth survey in which we'll bring in the engineers to completely look at everything. Back to Ameresco. Again, $750 million a year in projects. We guarantee savings. So, and we'll get into that in a minute, but we've got about $5 billion out there in guaranteed savings projects. We've done thousands of them. What we're looking at here is, with all your facilities, I think we're like 12 of them. I know that you guys, you're doing a new jail. The idea, what we're here today for, is to get the county to look at and agree to a investment grade audit. And that investment grade audit, I've done the preliminary here. We know that a project will pay for itself. And I think since I've done that, your controls and your comfort zone areas have gotten a little worse. And so the idea behind that is our engineers will look at every inch of your facilities. They'll look at the chillers, the boilers, the rooftop package units, anything that has to do with air conditioning, heating, and we'll also look at all your water usage. There's a lot of water savings, believe it or not, in the jail. We have a lot of ideas, and technology has proven itself that infrastructure retrofits will pay for themselves. And so our idea here is to bring you all a program that will cure your comfort problems, number one. It will pay for itself, number two, with a guarantee. And so the idea behind that is a project to upgrade your infrastructures in all your buildings, to bring them up to standard, to bring them up to new technology, number one. But to do that, not utilizing any capital. We do what's called a budget neutral program, and which means anything that we put in, the savings will pay for it. The program itself, right now we're Texas with statute bill 302, House Bill 302 allows a 20-year program. We've done a lot of 15-year programs. I did the city of Wichita Falls. The original job was about a $6 million deal. We did that 12 years, basically doing the same thing that you all are looking at: controls, energy management, HVAC, water, and lighting. All the lighting you see, we look at LED replacements inside and out. This Wichita Falls was so happy with that. We just sold 2 years ago. We sold them a $16 million project for. In fact, if you all live in the city, you're realizing it because you've all got brand new water meters and the AMI system. So they went from taking 7 or 5 meter readers reading 35,000 meters every month, and now they read 35,000 meters in about 20 minutes. They do it from a fixed base system. So that's more than paying for itself as we go. I know you guys have looked, you had another group in, I don't know what they've looked at, but with us, we look at infrastructure, which means we look at every piece of equipment you got, we look at every light fixture you have, and anything that can be done technology-wise. For example, on your compressors, Bob, we look at variable frequency drives, variable speed drives, so that when you need them, you need them. When you don't, it'll slow them down. We look at chill water reset, hot water reset, all temperature compensation, which means we're going to give you the latest possible startup of a unit to meet your comfort zones and the earliest possible shutdown. So if you want it comfortable at 8 o'clock, we will test. And it may be in some areas, some buildings, maybe they have to turn them on at 6, meet your comfort range by 7 or by 8. Other buildings may not be 10 minutes to commit it up. Same way with the shutdown. It's all energy savings. The programs we look at, we utilize for the city of, or for the county of Wichita County. You all are a member of TIPS. We're one of the TIPS representatives. So the bidding process, because we're on their bid list, it's already been taken care of. So you can negotiate direct through House Bill 302. So with that in mind, the idea behind that is today, the engineering study, the investment grade audit, our next step, because like I said, I've already done the preliminaries, I know there's a good program there. I know it pays for itself, and I know that there's a lot of savings available. The idea behind the investment grade audit is we'll bring out, you sign it, we bring in all of our engineers, we put together exact savings, exact costs, and a program to you. Now, there's 3 options. There's a back out fee in this for $62,000, and that's basically we charge 12 cents per square foot to do all of our surveys. That is the $62,000 is a back out fee. There's 3 options. One is we come back and bring you a program, exactly what I'm saying, that it pays for itself. It's a great deal. It's going to be a 15-year or 20-year project, 0 capital for the county. Everything is paid for off savings. You guys, if you like it, you'll take it. That back out fee is absorbed already into our engineering costs. Option 2 is we go out and look at it, we do a program and come back and say, I'm sorry, we cannot give you a program that's budget neutral. You are not obligated to pay that back out fee. That's on us, 100%. So option 3, and the most important one, is if we come out and we do a complete survey, we can bring you back a program that pays for itself, that does everything we said it will do, and the county goes, we don't want to do it now. We're going to bill you that back out fee. The only time that the county would ever be obligated to that back out fee is if we bring you a program that pays for itself, does everything we said it is, and you guys just decide you don't want to do it. The other 2 options, one is on us, and number 2, you take the program that you like it's absorbed into our engineering costs.
Do we get the say-so in our comfort zone?
Yes. Matter of fact, you do. You tell them, well, now, you want 50 degrees? No. You want 100 degrees? The standard range is 74 to 78 in the summer. It's 68 to 72 in the winter. That's standard. But if you want to differ from that, you just have to tell us over here.
Why is it 68 to 72 in the winter and 74 to 78? Why is it at 2?
Judge, that's just a standard.
Oh, okay.
You're welcome to choose whichever one you want, because I understand. I don't like it. I don't like it cold in the winter, and I don't like it hot in the summer. So.
But what I was just looking was that because my wife and I argue about the temperature setting all the time. But what interesting in trying to tell her all these things, there, you hear the deal room temperature wine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not what is not correct. in the 1800s, room temperature, if it was 68, it was really hot in there. And so the temperature was lower, and that's why room temperature red wines were different than they are now.
No, I totally agree with you, and I think when I say...
About the wine or about the...
Well, hey, you're lucky, my wife keeps it 50 degrees in my house, I know.
50.
Summer and winter?
Yep. For the next 5 years, I think I'm going to be able to live in that house for 55 degrees. So. But to answer your question, yes, there's standard zones out there, but they're going to range. You just have to tell us where you want it. Because chillers will go down to 42 degrees, you know, if you want there. You just have to tell
We
them.
have 50-degree temperature swings in some of our quarters.
I know you do. And I'll tell you, that's a lot of it will be in your air handling runs, and but a lot of it's in your controls. And do you have pneumatic controls?
Yes.
Yeah. That's typical for pneumatics. One of the things we'll look at is to change pneumatics into digital for you. And that goes back to cost. If the savings will pay for it, because I'll tell you, one thing I won't do, and I promised Mark when we started talking about it, I'm not going to forfeit comfort for savings, because you guys have to, I mean, we may save you a lot of money, but if you're sweating or you're freezing every day, you're not going to remember the money you saved.
Well, it's a daily battle for Bobby.
Sure.
It's every day battles the heating and air conditioning of this building.
But it's, and it's typical for this is an old courthouse, but it's been renovated and additions have been put in. And our guys, our structural people will look at that completely, along with the air handling runs. It may be, for example, one of the things we've done in several other facilities is rooms like this where you just can't get enough airflow in there. We've gone to what's called a PTAC, where it's basically a standalone wall unit.
Mini split.
Exactly. And it's Mitsubishi makes them, Samsung, and we put those in areas where we need them, because it just gives you backup. We've not really used them for standalones, because the cost to put a larger one in, but for supplementary air and heat is perfect. And again, we're going to do whatever we have to do to make this comfortable, and then we look at the savings, how much will the savings pay for. So with that in mind, again, I will just tell you, we're working on another project for the city here, and you all, I know you know Jim Dockery, so he's our contact there if you need him to verify any of my lies. We're getting ready, in May, we're getting ready for the next project, which is all your street lights in the city. It's, again, energy pays for it, doesn't cost them a dime out of pocket, and it's going to pay for itself. So I was able to get them, with the new tax cut laws, interest rates have really skyrocketed, even into nonprofit arenas like state, local government. But I was able to get a 3.5% lease. So again, it goes back to budget neutral. You get zero capital up front, budget neutral, and you don't make a payment until the program's been up and running for 6 months to a year, so that the savings have accrued to make the payment. The way the guarantee works for this is, hypothetically, if you're paying a lease payment of $100,000 a year, we're going to guarantee $100,000 a year in savings. Any year that we do not save that, Ameresco will cut you a check for the difference between actual savings and the guaranteed savings. We've averaged, I think you'll see it now, I think we've averaged, we're always averaging about 103% of our savings, and that's across the board. So the next step on that, I guess I should, any questions from you guys?
Would you consider putting solar panels on top of our buildings?
We will look at solar if you want. We own.
No, I'm just asking what.
Solar is very expensive.
Oh,
It does not, normal paybacks on solar is anywhere between 18 to 28 years.
Oh,
It's pretty expensive.
And we wouldn't
Now,
get the tax credits.
Yeah, because you guys are nonprofits.
Yeah.
And
Very
so,
much so. You had a list of buildings on attachment A. The county jail annex we have on there, which that's
Where's attachment A, Judge?
in the back.
in the back.
just page 4.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, sir. On this handout.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
You showed that. That may be something, considering we're building the new jail, that will replace that.
Correct.
Now, there may be, Vernon College may want to look into this.
Yes, sir. Martin and I talked about that. Because I know, for example, I think the courthouse annex, which one has the museum? Lindeman? Lindeman.
Lindeman's separate.
Yeah. I put these down. We'll look at all of them, and we'll bring them to you individually and say, at that time, if you, we're going to talk about
Lindeman, I think it's kind of out of it because the other contractor, we did focus on Lindeman because the cooling tower failed.
Correct. Yeah, you
So,
just took that.
yeah, I'm going to say that the time we finish that, it may be like the bones off the turkey, you know. There may, I don't know how far, we really focused on that one part, and I'm going to have to see where we got to on the rest.
Sure.
But we may want you to look at that, but.
Sure. Now, we'll look at any building, and I think these are the main ones. I think you may have a couple more, maybe, I don't know. But we'll look at every one of your facilities inside and out.
Okay, the other thing is on the current jail in this building,
Yes, sir.
we haven't decided whether that's going to stay open or not. There is part of it, 100 or 101 positions we will no longer be able to keep as a jail. They're only grandfathered in because they were covered in the pre-65 edition. So we'll need to do a little bit of carving on this.
Sure.
The other thing, you didn't have the Iowa Park Annex in there. You have precinct 3, but precinct 3 is over here, the road maintenance bridge department, the tax office and JP.
Okay, we can write it in. That's not a problem. Yeah, we'll do every one of your facilities. You just tell me which ones and we'll do them all.
And I'd really like you to look at, when we start talking about, because precinct 1 is a standalone precinct, but when you talk about precinct 2, you've got a tax office and a JP court, but then you've got a separate building that's the precinct maintenance bar.
All on the same facility.
All on the same
property.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking that, given the square footage over there of the main building for the precinct facility, the maintenance facility, you've got a big work area. We've just air conditioned that and insulated it.
And we only run that air conditioner there both.
Correct. So I'm saying, and you're 12 cents a square foot, we've got some things that I think need to be discounted if you're looking at that. And it may be not even to look at that office because there's no one in there during the day very much. I'm just saying.
but it's cost neutral to you, Judge.
Yeah, it doesn't.
He's only going to charge you if you back out of going forward with the deal.
That is correct.
Might as well charge you $1,000 square foot if we're going to do the deal.
Okay, if the deal includes changing something in the precinct 2 or precinct 4 maintenance department areas, and you say
covering that too. The only way you don't pay a dime for it if he comes back to the judge, I looked at precinct 2 barn and we can't save any money there, don't cost you nothing.
Yeah.
But if he says that,
62,000.
yeah.
Trust me, you tell me where you want it to be, we'll do it. I mean,
I think we have to understand more from you when you look at that facility, and I think you'll see what I'm thinking is, wait a minute.
I've seen a big open area and your open air barn, and what I looked at there originally was lighting. Yeah, all just looked at lighting, and I think you had a couple of small, either packaging or split system there. So I did some numbers on that, and so, again, I've been doing it, this is my 40th year, and so I haven't seen a lot of things I haven't seen before, but to answer your question, I totally understand where you're at.
Okay, and the other thing, that $62,000 is in that cost somewhere. Even if he says, hey, we're not going to charge you.
Oh, you're not getting it back one way or the other. He's either putting it in his pocket or you're not foregoing it.
No, it's going to be in the cost of what we do.
Right.
Yeah, but
It's part of our, what it does, it becomes part of our engineering.
So what I'm saying is, if that 62 is less, because, okay,
if he can do it for 32, you didn't save a penny. He did, but you didn't, because you weren't paying for it to begin with.
yeah, you are.
No?
I'm going to tell you, when the job's over with, he didn't give away $62,000.
No, but
Can I tell you this? Just so you know, the backup fee when we did it, City of Wichita Falls, was $80,000. My engineering project development cost was $400,000. Okay, I just throw a number out there, and it's just, what that, honestly, that number of backup fee is to keep you guys honest, or your part of the customer honest. So, you tell me if you wanted it at 50,000, I'm good with that.
here's my problem, or
I just
here's
used 6
my thought behind that, Judge, is that why would you want to leave operation and buy ABC light bulbs for 92% of your stuff, but have to still call XYZ company to buy 10% of them because you didn't change that stuff out when you did the overhaul?
Well, okay, but we just put air conditioning into that building. I'm just saying, it needs to be looked at, and I don't think Lindeman necessarily, until we get that project finished, I think we're not going to know whether that'll be part of it. But I understand what you're saying.
But we're paying the light bill for the museum and, I mean,
Well, the lighting alone, there's savings in that, it's just discounting the air.
Right. And the other thing too, that we looked at lighting, one of the big reasons we look at lighting is right now there's rebates, and those come right back to you, straight
Okay.
back to you guys.
But the other thing is, usage helps predict the payback.
Sure, oh yeah.
Okay. We don't get a lot of usage, and I'm really going to stick with what the commissioner said about, we don't turn the air conditioning on there unless we have classes in there or we have voting going on. And that's, not a daily deal.
Well, and Judge, when we do, I don't care which building it is, this one or the Iowa Park, those are individually looked at. You guys are going to tell me how many hours those are on. We're not going to say. In fact, a lot of times, we'll put data loggers out there in the facility, and we'll run the data loggers for 30 days, and I can tell you exactly how much you use. And so that's part of our deal when we engineer. But I understand exactly where you're at, and I have
Okay,
no
I'm
problem
the
with that.
first guy to ask you that.
No, you're not, and totally understand it, and that's why we're pretty flexible. The idea behind it is, I just want to get in there and look at your facilities from the ground up throughout, and then tell you exactly how much you can save and what it will cost. Because I know the biggest thing, the courthouse here is comfort. The jail, you got to maintain a certain comfort level, but those, the annexes, everywhere else, the juvenile center, we want to save you money on lighting and HVAC. More than that, we want to upgrade your HVAC to a point where it works tremendously.
So, in part of my thinking, if we go back, then for what our price is, you all might as well go ahead and look at Vernon College, because it's in that same
Yes.
amount of money.
I'd love to.
And look at the other, and tell us in case we repurposed part of the jail annex.
Yeah.
Then what should we be doing in that space? Now, if we broke it up into office cubicles and some things, that would probably say it. But what I really see that area eventually going is different types of storage.
Sure.
So the climate needs would be a little different.
Yeah, I agree, and again, you have a lot of lighting out there. Now, my question to you, Vernon College, are they affiliated with the county?
They're in our building.
They're in your building.
They're a tenant.
So do they pay their electric?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys aren't, you don't have to pay that, it's a.
We have our meter, they have their meter in the
Full
same
lease.
building.
Okay, yeah, while we're there, I mean, it's, if we're gonna walk it, I'm gonna shoot you out.
Okay.
Because that way it'll help you guys, because we'll work, you bring it to you, and you and I can go see the Vernon College, guys, if you do this, it's gonna save you this much money. Totally understand that.
Well, it would save us the money in getting the new, they'd still pay the same electric bill. We would be the reaper of the benefit of the equipment right in our facility.
Yeah, okay, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But I don't see, unless they shut that down. The president, when he was new and we hit him up with some additional rental costs, thought he would go find a different place.
I'm sure you guys are
And
giving.
it was very hard to beat. I think it was 14 cents a foot at that time.
Yeah,
We're now up over $1, but he's paying his prorated share of the roof. He's gonna pay, when that finishes, he'll start paying his share of the parking lot.
sure.
But he jokingly walked into me and brought his, came in his hat, took it off and said, I really underestimated how good a deal we had. So,
Yeah.
at any rate, but we ought to go ahead and include them in the.
Sure, love to. And that's what I'm saying, the idea is, we're kind of skimming over the top, but when it comes down to where you guys, I'll do every building you want, from the ground up, including Vernon College. And it really depends on, for example, the old jail, whatever you want to do with it, we'll show you exactly what you can save on it, as it is. And
We're still gonna own that building, we just don't know exactly
Sure.
what to do with
Yeah,
it.
what we're gonna do with it.
Well, and so talk to us about the cost neutral scenario, and is this a grant that we're participating with the state of Texas
No.
in?
No, this is strictly us putting in, because of our buying power, we buy things a lot less, and we're pretty good at what we do, so we can install everything at a lower cost than basically what you guys could do. But we look at, I use a number out there, say $1 million. So we look at $1 million lease, and it's, like I said, I was able to get the city 3.5%, and so we take that into all job cost. That is over a 15 or 20-year period, X amount of dollars per month, or per year in cost.
In payback cost?
No, in payment, right. So therefore, I've got to look at your facility and see how much savings we have. So I determine the scope of work based on savings. So if I can bring you, if we have to, like out there, I'm looking at the Vernon College area, I know those are all package units on the top. Those are normally at 1.2, 1.3 kW efficiency. They're pretty high cost. So if we look at replacing those, or putting a variable speed items on it, and/or putting occupancy sensors so that they're not running wide open at all the times. So we look at that savings. And for example, a good rule of thumb is if I can save you, let's just have savings $100,000 on a 15-year program, I multiply that 100,000 times 12. So that's a $1.2 million net present value project that I can look at. So that's when we start really getting down to it. A lot of times it's going to depend on what the problem areas are. I would say 50% of your problem area is right here in this building, because it's your largest money user, your utilities, and most uncomfortable.
I'm still struggling, Randy, with understanding who's paying for what. And how do you get your money, and how do we pay for equipment?
Okay? We're going to bring you a contract.
Let's say you analyzed everything and we needed, between our lighting and AC and anything else, we needed $10 million worth of equipment.
Okay?
Then what happens?
Okay. First of all, with that in mind, we put together a lease, municipal lease for $10 million with all the costs included. So let's just say with all the costs in, now it's $12 million. So that comes back to an annual payment that you make. Usually you make 1 or 2 payments a year, semi-annual and annually. So those savings have got to pay for that.
Yeah.
So if you're $100,000 a year in payments, and I'm going to guarantee that $100,000 in utility savings. So any given year, because Texas is I cannot encumber an incoming board or incoming budget. So I'm going to, your utilities are $500,000 a year. We're going to save you $100,000. So you're still going to pay $400,000 in utilities, and that extra $100,000 you're going to pay to us, but you're going to get the savings to pay for that. So
How am I paying that to you? With
through
a
the lease.
different check?
Through the lease. Yeah, you're going to be making a lease payment and your utility payment. And what I'm telling you is your lease payment, your utility payment is not going to be more than your utility payment is right now.
Okay, but I get the benefit of the difference.
Yes.
So you're going to make a lease payment, it's a lease to own for the equipment. I'm going to pay you for that annually. And then I reap the benefit of what I was paying $1,000 electric bill, now I have $100. I'm keeping that money. And you're saying, off of that savings, I can more than make my lease payments?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But my lease payments don't change?
Nope.
There's no other ramp up to them or anything?
No, it's a fixed rate.
What happens if we're upside down in a year?
That's, the next answer was, let's just say that year 2, we save you $60,000, but you need $100,000. Ameresco writes a check to the county for $40,000. That's why the House Bill 302 is performance contracting.
Okay.
We have to make our performance.
I just didn't understand it that way. I thought that y'all were paying out of pocket for all the equipment and taking the energy bill. Where am I getting the part that we're paying the same old energy price or the energy bill? If our bill was $1,000, we'd keep paying that. That's
You won't
not
be paying it. No, that's not correct. If you're paying $500,000 a year and we're going to save you $100,000,
I got you.
you're still out of pocket
Okay.
$500,000.
But if I'm paying you $400,000 a year in lease payments, and I happen to save $550,000, and that benefit is mine?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Got
that
it.
is true.
Okay.
With that in mind, I'll go back to the city of Wichita Falls. We guaranteed them, I'm trying to think on the original job, all electric. I think we guaranteed them $420,000 a year. After they pay all that, and at the end of the program, they will have paid for all that, and they're going to net, I think they netted $2.5 million over the 20-year period on top
Can't
of
beat
this.
that deal.
Well, no, and the water, we just did the water meters. After 20 years, we guaranteed the water meters 98.5% accuracy for 20 years. They're saving $1,157,000 a year. And I just had lunch with Jim, and they're outdoing that because we told them and we showed him at the end of the 20 years, they will have paid for all their meters, everything else, and they're going to have $7 million of positive cash flow.
How do they do the rotation on those meters then? If they all come in the course of a year's time, then how do they change them out once that life is lived in those things?
After 20 years,
Do they get 20 years of life out of?
we guarantee 20 years of
Okay.
life. If the meters break, and plus, to add to that, we have to, by state law, in the first 5 years, we have to pull meters again and do a test for accuracy. We send them to a certified lab, and they come back. And so if they're not doing 98.5%, that's on us to
And
replace.
so you spoke of maybe some water savings that we could incur at what is our jail facility today, which utilizes a lot of water, but what were some of those things that could happen?
Well, there's still, if I remember right, when I looked at it, there's still some regular flow toilets. Those are 4.6 gallons per flush.
Gotcha.
The new ones are 1.6 gallons per flush. Sinks run 1.5 gallons a minute. The new aerators that we'll put on them is a 0.5 gallon, and the same with the shower
All of
heads.
that.
But the new building will have all that already designed.
That's true. Now, the other, I was going to ask you, the new building, are you guys putting a laundry in there?
Yes.
Good. And there's new stuff on the laundry, cold water laundry, that'll save you a ton of money. some on energy, and it'll save you money there on water, chemicals. The other thing, I think you told me that you guys are looking at that automatic shut-off valves, so that the jailer can flush it twice, so they can't flush for 30 minutes. You're amazed how much maintenance that's going to save you. Because right now, the inmates, if they want to be in the yard, if they want out, they take sheets, stuff and flush, and your maintenance and maintenance nightmare. And that thing that you guys are doing, and that takes care of everything. That's pretty good.
So let me ask you this. We do this, we get 5-8 years down the road and our lamps start failing, we're having to do maintenance, and we go back with the old T5s or whatever. And we stop losing our savings. How do we control the maintenance? What's the incentive for us to do maintenance?
The lamps, here's the thing.
Just lamps, for instance, but air conditioning, same way.
Same way. Lamps, we're going back with LEDs.
Mm-hmm.
These are standard lamps, they're 18,000 hours.
Yeah.
LEDs are 100,000 hours. So if you're burning 4,000 hours a year, it's 25 years.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that, but
Okay.
same way with air conditioning. If we put in new air conditioning, we're going to guarantee the life of that.
Okay.
If we're retrofitting it or whatever, there's going to be, I can't guarantee that unit for 20 years if it's already 12 years old.
Right.
But we have, you're not the warranty of the actual equipment. The equipment manufacturer is, right?
But it comes through us. Yes. We are totally responsible.
So if I have a unit that 4 years, high dollar unit, biggest one we have, continually is having maintenance issues, that warranty runs through you to come to me?
If we put it in, it runs through us.
But you would have put it in with the subcontractor to us, right?
Yeah, exactly. If I put in a new unit, the warranty will come through us. Yes. Yeah, we're totally responsible for your program.
From just knowing today's the 26th of March, when can you be underway with this project?
The IGA, I think you've got a copy of it for your lawyers, if they can agree with everything. Once you sign the IGA, we'll have engineers out the next week, and we'll be doing, we just finished, we had 5 engineers, and we did Texas A&M, Corpus Christi in 2 weeks. All the surveys, and then we put all the paperwork together.
But I'm talking about until we have new equipment running in our buildings, how long?
If you sign the IGA, we'll have you back a firm contract in about 3 months. And then the minute you guys agree to that, do a notice to proceed, they'll be on site the next week.
Computerized controls. Right now, we have an issue with our air conditioning controls that we had a computer system that was installed.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer serviceable. It's no longer get updates on it.
Is that a Johnson Controls?
Do what?
Is it a Carrier or a Johnson Control?
It's a Carrier Honeywell control.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you going to sell us something that 10 years from now we're not going to be able to get service on, or?
I will sell you whatever you want because we're vendor neutral.
Okay.
No,
but we don't want to get in that situation again.
Totally
where 10 years from now, we can't get on the computer and,
Sure.
and make the adjustments or see what's going on.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're vendor neutral. You can, we'll do anything you want.
So your computer software will at least be supported for 25 years until we get you paid off.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said 3 months after signing, that's to do all the engineering.
Yes,
Put together. Then you develop a project to be put out for proposals. Is
Yeah,
that
we'll bring you a proposal and say here's what we're looking at.
Okay.
The other thing too, at your point, is we utilize local contractors where we can.
Okay, is that through a bid process?
Our guys will say that, yes. No, the court doesn't have, we've done it, and we'll bring you, for example, if you want Carrier for equipment, we're responsible, but we will go out to local contractors, Lennox, Carrier, Train, whatever, and have them come in and give us our price. So, but again, if Bob wants Carrier, we can go Carrier. If he wants Train, we can do that. But we normally, all of our guys do go out, our project developers go out and bring a bid in.
No, we don't have a justification for sole source. So it'll be open.
But that's, that's kind of it in a nutshell. The idea behind it is, again, the only way that back-out fee would ever come into play is if I brought your program and it does everything we say it would be an upgrade and everything.
Do we have to put up a bond?
No, sir, that's all included, no, sir. We do all the bonds.
I'm talking about for the $62,000.
No, you don't have to do anything, you just got to sign an IGA.
Okay.
Okay, we go out 3 months, you're doing the study. We come back, you all take bids. How long before we see somebody start in the buildings, changing things?
We will be taking bids in the 3 months interim.
Oh,
So
okay.
when you guys, when I bring a proposal back and we come to, I will have you a contract in advance for your attorneys to look at and make sure everything's dots, i's are dotted and everything. You come back, you sign it. One of the attachments is a notice to proceed. You sign that, our guys on the job next week.
I'd say we get, with this gone through, back to you soon. As soon as it gets back to you, I'd like to see what that contract is, so we have time.
I'll email one to you guys.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we proceed with
Wait a second.
IGA pending
Yeah.
legal review.
We signed the same paperwork.
Do you have any questions?
And we got a walk-away fee with Terracon too. How much is that?
Did they perform?
I don't think we're gonna have any problem with them after this deal on the Lindemann building being so damn far out of what they said.
Rob, you have any questions?
She left her first, so she's gonna be back.
Started a long way.
Any questions?
Talk on the phone.
See what they have first. One is, we had a program, when I came on board here almost 20 years ago, was a Honeywell controls, but it was, when it was installed, it was handled by Rockwell.
Right.
Okay, and I'm assuming, because when they first took that over, entered a contract with the county, I wasn't here. When I came on board, they were no longer controlling it. Our computers were.
Right.
So somewhere down the line, somebody decided to just, I don't know, quit paying them to handle it. So we were handling it ourselves. Worked really well, better than anything we got now. And since then, we've had
That looks really
Honeywell
promising.
people up here.
It's going well.
And we got a new computer, we've had trouble with computers running up to get rid of those. And then the information is lost. And so anyway, they put this new Honeywell program in. It won't stay hooked up, it's through the internet. You gotta go online anytime you wanna do anything with it. It's about the sorriest thing I've ever seen.
We don't want them.
No, even though they have all the controls, I don't know why we couldn't have gone back to the original Rockwell program.
I don't know. But to answer your question, as far as what we got, number one, we're vendor neutral. Whatever you want, we'll show you different ones. In fact, one of the things that we do is we'll do a workshop, and they'll come in and show you.
Okay.
And you can choose from there.
My understanding was back when Rockwell put this program in, they sent the maintenance guys to a school to learn how to operate a computer. Y'all.
Yes, all the training is included.
Okay, because they'll need something.
Well, I want you to be trained on it because I want you to be able to save more money.
I probably won't be around there.
Oh, don't.
Somebody else will.
You keep it up, we're not gonna let you retire. Just keep it up.
The information the rest of the court, when Mark and I talked, one of the things that we stressed is the fact that this is a governmental building. We do
Yes,
have a
sir.
couple of floors of jail that have to be maintained, and you guys are comfortable working around
Yes.
courts and
Yep.
and that it's a different animal than a lot
We
of things
do prisons,
Yeah.
we do federal buildings, GSA buildings, we do $200 million a year in government buildings. And they're very comfortable doing it because our guys work around your guys. When I say that, they're not gonna be in here during the day. They're gonna be here after hours, and they work, they're used to it.
That is a consideration. We've got on some different projects that where you get started and then having hammer going on and all that, so.
There was a fire light this morning.
Another cost
Yes, sir.
is our county requires security people
We'll have to work that out.
at night, whenever you're here.
And that's fine. And so that cost, so you know, is when we do that, we'll work that out with you guys. And that'll be budgeted into our program.
Okay. I guess that was something that we threw on a contract and they weren't expecting when we did the county clerk, and we went, what?
Yeah, and I mean, it's a government building, so we do prevailing wage, so you're good there. The date is picked.
It's got a little purple in it, that means paving.
That's right, we got roof codes.
I don't need no holes in it.
No, looks like a wheel.
So you don't have a feel right now for overall cost of project, whether we're talking about an amortization of 15 to 25.
Judge, I looked at it, and I originally looked at it at about somewhere between $100,000 and $130,000 a year savings, and a project cost of about 1.2 to 1.4. And that's, I think it's going to be a little bit more savings and a little bit more cost, just because the chiller has aged so much and the pneumatic system. Because at the time, we were going to look at redoing the pneumatic system, but, you know, this day and time, I'd look at a new digital electronic system. So I will tell you that it's probably a little bit more, but it's still, I think the savings are more than.
But that's your guesstimate,
Yes, sir.
and that's based on a while back doing it. Because I wouldn't have figured you could trade this equipment, including the lighting in all of our facilities, for $5 million.
We have a pretty good buying capacity, and I'm just saying that when I looked at it originally, you didn't have that much of a comfort problem 5 years ago. But yeah, looking at it now, I mean, it may be more, but I guarantee you it's going to pay for itself.
Are there issues where, when you come in to this courthouse, would they be some things that would be put in new and some things left alone?
Yes.
There would be air conditioning that would be left alone.
If it is, and our guys will check it out with volt meters, everything else to make sure that it's running properly. But yeah, we'll look at all.
So it's not necessarily standard that we would have the XYZ brand of all air conditioning. We could still have a hopscotch of
This building's a little different because you have chillers and boilers, and then you have air handlers. So it's pretty easy to say we're going to stay with one group here. It'll be one, because your air handlers they work off of the main chillers and boilers. So where you might have trained carrier with is in your smaller outlying facilities that have package units or split systems. Some of those may be working perfectly, and the Freon is great. Some of them are maybe dogs. So there's where you might have the difference. But as far as the larger facilities that have chiller we call them built-up systems, or internal physical plant systems, we're going to stick with one brand there.
When you take all this old equipment down, or replace it with equipment that's supposed to be more energy efficient, what happens to the old equipment?
Well, it stays with you guys wherever you want it.
If we have some of it that's not that old.
Correct.
Some of us that's the same as, some of the things we have that we can cannibalize some of those compressors and whatever.
You show me the building, might be the storage areas, we'll put them in. Yeah, they're yours. I don't want you.
want these one right now.
I just finished a small city in Oklahoma.
Talking about that air conditioner that blows on the
They
radio.
took all the old metal, $12,000 in salvage it. So that's all you guys.
Yes.
I have no want for it.
Well, a lot of times when the contract comes in, it goes away.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And, we had a bathroom that was remodeled, and we had just replaced all the flush valves and everything in that. I mean, you're talking a lot of money there.
yeah.
And even though they weren't very old, they put the same identical thing on them, which the plumbing was never moved in the wall, and they were going to cart them out of here, and I called Matt and asked him who they belonged to. And he said, well, they're yours if you want them. I said, well, we're going to take them.
You bet. No,
You could have wiped them off and sold them back to us.
Yeah.
Really?
But no, everything that we take out's yours. And again, a lot of people salvage it. A lot of people bare bones spare parts for some other areas. And so that's usually your two choices, is saving it for parts or salvaging it. And the other thing I was telling you about is City of Wichita Falls, again, I use them because they're not next door. But the project we did originally, there was $157,000 rebate money from the electric company. And that came back to them, a lump sum check.
Question that just kind of come up, new construction, we've got an evidence room that we're constructing within the spray facility that we're needing dehumidifier.
2 10-ton units.
Sure.
Can y'all handle that as part of this or a separate funding portion of this?
Yeah,
And how would we go about a new construction with it?
new construction is just, for us, it's just, it's another room.
Yeah.
So we would just handle it on a separate issue as far as proposal is concerned.
But it would be adding power usage,
Sure. And
lowering your mobility.
adding new tonnage. When we do the baseline audit for utility usage, that will be brought in. So we'll know it's there. So that's really not, believe it or not, it's not included in your baseline and won't be included in your audit either. It'll be a separate issue.
But if you put it on a deal and you're making your money based on what savings we do, and we're adding 2 10-ton package units to it, we cut into your money because of savings.
No,
Not your.
No, we're just putting it on the lease, the same way with the
We'd
other.
be making more of a lease payment.
Yeah.
He makes
Yeah.
the same regardless, he's just selling you
Yeah.
equipment,
Yeah,
and his
he's-
markup is his
usage would
equipment.
not be included in the baseline, nor would it be included in your measurement verification
Yeah,
audit.
but it would be included as part of the lease.
Yeah, we're an avenue for procurement.
Yeah,
So,
at a much reduced cost.
yes.
And are there any rebates or anything available for new construction?
I don't want to lie to you. I will check on it.
Why not? Everybody else does.
It's,
Did you get it, Brenda?
I'm looking,
Oh,
I'm researching it.
One of the things I'm curious here, because what you're telling me, if we're going to spend 3 months doing this, that's going to be, if we sign this in April, then you've got May, June, July, that you're going to do your audit. It's going to take probably August to get everybody, get what you're going to use.
Yeah,
and
July,
put in.
August, yeah.
So then we're heading into September.
More electro.
Or we're going to go through a lot of grief here over the temperatures this early in the summer.
Judge, what I will tell you is that's our standard. All I can do on that system to verify it, to get around it, I just need to talk to my engineers and make sure we get them on here quicker and make sure that they do it. Just so you know, a company like us, we're private industry, we love revenue, and the quicker we can get you to sign on the bottom line, that's more revenue for us, quicker revenue, so we're going to bust our tails to do that.
outside looking in though, it'd be better to change out the air conditioning in the cooler months than it would be the hotter months.
Well, and Mark and I talked about that too. When you got your chiller, and one thing we talk about is we don't know what that's going to entail with this chiller here. So to take a chiller down in your hot months will kill you.
Yeah.
So what we also put into when we look at the time frame is if we have to, we'll bring in portable chillers. And we've done that a lot of times.
So,
They're going to be they're going to be hooked into your pipeline, but with the chiller itself work, we do it a lot.
real company,
Might be, you think so?
not be a real freaking company.
Been waiting on
We've done a lot of things.
She's answering one question.
one question, okay.
Well, I think, do you know what phase the other one is in? Was it prelim versus,
We haven't heard from them, I haven't.
I mean, they were supposed to provide the inventory and energy model and give us a preliminary report and a UAR report. We don't have to accept it after the preliminary report, but there are some costs that we may have to pay that they've incurred costs in the contract.
We've been paying costs all along with them.
Yeah, I don't know that we haven't paid for what they've done.
I think we have.
Yeah.
I thought the bills that we were paying them was the work that they were doing on the Linderman building.
Part of it was.
We entered into, and we have some amendments in here that I would need to track down. I know there's been more than one amendment signed that I don't have on here. So we would just need to look at where we are, but I think we would have the right to cancel. It doesn't have any kind of exclusivity provision or.
But does it have a $62,000 see you later, we're not gonna do it with you clause?
You mean like a cancellation clause?
Yeah, back out, like,
Cancel
he's
it?
got a $62,000 back out fee. I wanna know does Terracon have a back out fee?
Or you pay for what we've incurred to this point kind of clause.
Well, right now in time to strictly, let's go through that and not in haste, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not in that category. And you've got to also then look at the work we've had them do, which I think put us in a different position.
Okay.
So,
I just didn't want to I don't want to agree to sign this agreement with Randy today and then come to the court Monday and say, you ain't gonna believe, we gotta pay Terracon $50,000.
Either party may terminate the agreement or the services upon written notice to the other. In such case, the consultant shall be paid costs incurred and fees earned to date of termination.
And we have no idea what that is.
yeah, we've been billed, I mean, the stuff they've done. I think we're current.
Be easy to figure.
Well, you're not gonna send us a bill, period.
No.
Unless you decide not to do it.
Yeah.
Well, why are they sending us bills and how can we be current? If-
They sent us a proposal. Their proposal was, that's how theirs is structured. They sent us a proposal to provide mechanical consulting services for inventory energy consuming equipment for 3 facilities with 7 electric meters, blah, blah, blah. The prelim scope of work was a lump sum of $7,500, and then the mechanical consulting services for investment upgrade energy audit, the UAR, and that was for the Lone Star loan, which we decided not to go with,
Fine.
was $15,000, for a total lump sum fee of $22,500. So we were paying for their consulting services up front,
Okay,
different
different.
structure than this other one.
And then we entered into an agreement with them trying to move forward to get that chiller, the cooling tower,
Yeah.
not chiller, taken care of. And during part of those discussions, they made an offer to do what you're talking about. And I gave them a deadline for that proposal. Obviously, I didn't say what year. I don't have it yet.
I understand.
So I'd say that dance is over with. We're going to finish the one we're on the dance room floor now, but I don't think he wants to answer that line with me.
I don't know them, but in me, the way we live our business is we're only as good as our last job. So if you're not happy, we didn't get we're not going to get more business. So that's why we do not charge you anything. Because I'm confident I can bring you a program that pays for itself. We rolled into the engineering piece.
Sure.
So, and then we sign the lease. You guys don't have to make a payment until, normally, you've got a construction period, that's savings, ongoing, and then when you guys accept the system, then it's usually 6 months to a year before you make your first payment. So your savings is accumulated, so to speak.
Okay. How long, okay, we're starting into this, we didn't finish this. 3 months maximum time on engineering. We'll say another month to get everything out for people to give you all bids. You bring it to us, we say, yeah, that's good. You're hiring everybody, you're paying for it.
Yes, sir.
Then how long from the time we say, man, get busy? What would be?
Installation period?
Yeah.
Normal, I would say, 3 to 6 months. And it depends on
That's
what.
to the completion or to the beginning?
No, completion. And a lot of it depends on what equipment we have to order, the time to get it in.
So if we move forward right now, we're looking at, by this time next year, being completely through, well beyond finished with our entire project.
I would say right now with this project, if we start our IGA now, I would say by the end of March, it'll be totally, I'm hoping that by the end of January, by the end of March, you'll be at beneficial occupancy, which means you'll be 95 to 98% done. And there'll be punch lists.
Just leave the punch list.
Okay, Randy, I got another question for you. You come back to the table and said, okay, boys, it looks like $2 million worth of equipment. We get you there, you make the savings, and we say, okay, Rand, here's our check for $2 million. Is that still acceptable? Do we have to finance this program?
No, cash is great. We like cash, but no, I mean, that's, we do that as it's, you'll know what the price is. You can pay cash for it. The reason we finance it is so that you guys are not out any capital. You're not out any cash.
Is that, Willie, that would affect our IMS rate, correct? This being lease to own, we would list it as IMS increase. Unless we paid for it, if it was, I just envisioned in my mind it being a lot more than $1.5 million, but it may not be, but
Just dawned on me, this is kind of like a car salesman. Honestly, it is. Now, I'm not being rude, Randy, but
Hey, that's a lot worse.
today, the millennials do not care how much the car costs. How much is the payment?
Exactly.
Okay?
That's true.
Well, I want to sell you this 1978 Datsun pickup for $75,000, but you only have to pay $300 a month for the rest of your life. So we need to consider the margins that they're going to be making. It's probably going to be like a real company.
well, he told me it's what they did, one of Wichita Falls deal was 3.5%.
Yep, that's, right now, we're getting ready to do streetlights. That's what we just, and I'm telling you, if we would have done this last December, it'd have been 3.2%.
So, I mean, those are affordable rates.
But the thing we need to think about, if you put that under interest and sinking for, let's say, 20 years, you've just sucked up, a penny or whatever on.
You've had to pull it out of M&O and move it over to
Or you've taken it out of the top end, and the top end is not far away. Our deal, what we're dealing with is we're at 66 cents of the maximum 80 cents you
Sure.
tax.
But Judge, you would remain at 66, your calculation would just be different.
Yeah.
You wouldn't change your overall rate. If 16 cents was IMS and 50 cents belonged to M&O, you might pull down M&O 2 cents and move that other two.
Yeah, because you ought to be offsetting that by the savings.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yes,
So, Randy,
Yes, yeah, Willie and I both been through this game before.
do we get the benefit of your buying power? Or do you get it?
Both. We're going to take advantage of it.
Sure,
Yeah, that's how we make money.
sure.
And
But I'm just wondering, are we gonna be paying $2,000 for a unit that we could go locally and get for
Well, I
$1,000?
mean,
Oh, no,
think
no,
about
I see what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
How much on top of what your buying power gets you? Will they get it at 50% markup?
No.
20% markup?
our what we did at Wichita Falls,
Yeah.
we did 10% overhead, 7% profit.
And Lee, think about it this way, I mean,
Oh,
there
very
can't
agreeable.
be too much if you're talking about a $2 million job. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not
Well-
like you can hide it in a $30 million job pretty easy, but
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of hard to.
I'm with you, we'd just pay it.
Well, Well, we've got permanent improvement monies if we're talking about that kind of money. I just can't get my
Now,
mind around that
I-
kind of money for this job.
And if you do pay cash, we still guarantee the savings every year.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter how you buy it. Our savings guarantee is there.
Yeah, we just have to, as you say, move something out of M&O, but then we're gonna take the savings back on what the utility payment is. and
Right.
We're gonna break even.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll show you, I mean, we do this, I'll send you, we call it open book pricing. You know, you'll have to look at it, but it's got engineering fees, it'll have your engineering fees, your this, and the fees. But as far as any outside purchases we make, let's say we buy a chiller, we buy this, or whatever we buy, there's no, that is only, the only thing we put on that is like a 10% overhead, 7% profit
Okay,
on
so
any outside purchase.
it's gonna be you're gonna have an itemized list.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna come over here and add up, and then you're gonna say, here's the two add-ons,
Yeah.
17% more.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's one of the questions I had down.
I'll be honest with you, I think that's crazy.
Well, what do you mean?
Don't be advising they're doing good and.
Well, if you know,
I operate on a 37% profit, not 17.
well, but his volume of dollar is a lot greater. He's $750 million.
And he's worth more,
How do you know?
because it's keeping cool and heat.
Yeah, 17%
I'm
profit.
going to go into your business, so.
My CEO would have a cap.
Same deal.
Give you an idea, you know John Burris?
Oh, yes, we do.
Okay.
It was lovely wife Leanne.
When we're doing the street lights, he looked at this, because he was saying, I can buy, he was giving me, I can buy this. And I said, he goes, what are you paying? What am I paying for a street light? And it came out to him, we're talking about brand new Cobra heads, LEDs, and everything, about $330. And he said, I'm ready,
Yeah,
because he can't touch it.
yeah.
Hey,
We
there's a place I want a street light out of the county.
Hey,
Can you do that?
sure.
Can I do that, Judge? Can I put one on the end of Daniels Road 240?
In your right of way, you can, yeah.
Come see me after the meeting.
Well, you don't need him to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't,
Yeah,
can't
you
do it.
can, through your guy at Encore.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
He charges, we can't get it, Brady, and if he put one up for $330, he's my man.
That's just behind the hill.
It's just, that's not the,
Oh,
that's not the pole.
my, there's always something to it.
Well, I got a pole.
I've got a pole too, it's just kind of short.
You got a line out there, fool?
Mine's
Going downhill fast.
Mine's in a little street light. Came off of 287. So
We have a very bad intersection, I've been wanting a street light there, I mean, one that'll light it up.
Have you asked Texas about that? They won't do it, they don't do that anymore. I got the last of those.
Judge, they're taking them down, not putting them up. That's what they told me.
I'm doing City of McAllister right now, and the PSO rep flat told the city manager, I'll give you all your lights. You just maintain them. And he goes, no. He goes, it's because, they've got 1,500 streetlights up and down Highway 169. They don't have trucks, they don't have qualified people to get up, they're gonna get run over and everything else. They don't want the liability. So, ODOT does that. ODOT, not ODOT, PSO does that. So,
Okay,
Anything else?
Mark,
I made the motion.
what was it? I want to hear you give.
Then we proceed with the,
Whoa. Where's the agenda, Nancy?
What does it say?
I don't think it says that.
No, I think we've got to wait for.
Oh, no, it does. It does have discuss, consider, take action.
Okay.
I'm sorry, thank you.
I made the motion to approve proceeding with the IGA pending legal review.
Second.
Okay, Nancy, write them down, I don't have my agenda. I gave it back to you earlier. Okay. Motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Waller to approve the item as presented. Any other comment?
Randy,
Yes, sir.
I hope
All
that
in
we are
favor?
not,
Yeah, vote first.
yeah.
All in
He said
favor?
any other comments?
Wait,
That's
Judge,
a comment.
I'm sorry, before you vote, should we add anything to that to have you sign anything?
Yes, be to sign it after legal review. Yeah. Okay, now, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0.
Get on the
Wait,
stage.
excuse me, I've got to go entertain juveniles. Mr. Morrow, would you take over?
That's all right, I just hope one of them's not mine.
That's all we had as a judge.
Yeah, that's.
The judge, such
Good way.
Okay. It's 2:45 and we're adjourned.
Randy, thank you.
Thank you.
You guys, appreciate it.
I really hope you go hard and do something. I'm gonna get it